Hey, welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Journey, the site that's all about getting you unstuck and toward living that dream, moving away from just wanting that dream to actually living that dream. And I could not be more excited about our guest here in Longmont, Colorado. Longmont, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver. But it's a pleasure to be here with Master Tran. Master Tran, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Ty, for inviting me. I'm very honored to be here today.
This is going to be great. Well, why don't we just jump in and let's hear about your own personal journey from moving from Vietnam after the war, finding yourself here in Colorado, and then we'll move on from there and tell us about your professional work after that.
Okay. I was born in Saigon, Vietnam, now Ho Chi Minh City, and came over here during after the war, 1975, with a family as a refugee, so forth too. So raised by a single parent, a father raising 5 kids on his own, and so my father is definitely my hero, and family is very important to us, and so we came over here, and we got sponsored by a Lutheran church here in Colorado. That's how we actually landed here in Colorado and start our life. And my dad was just a hard-working guy, just raising 5 kids to make sure his kids grow up to stay out of trouble mainly. To go to college and stay out of trouble. And that's how we ended up here in Colorado. So forth too. So but this is where we laid our roots to begin our journey in the martial arts. So forth too. But growing up in this country, there wasn't many Asian role model to look up to, and the only Asian role model I can think of back then in the 70s and 80s was Bruce Lee, of course. So I always tell myself I was one of those closet Bruce Lee. I came out of the closet one day and said, I want to be like Bruce Lee. No, I can't be Bruce Lee, but I can be the best who I can. But Bruce Lee really kind of set that tone for me. So, you know what? This guy was only Asian role model. There's no one out there to really live in the martial art lifestyle like he did. He set the whole tone in the industry and so forth. So that's why I love the martial art for myself. You know.
Now let's talk about what you just said, setting the tone. And you said you love martial arts, but you sort of went through that challenge of perhaps pursuing a conventional path, right? You went to college, and tell us about what you studied there.
Okay, so what I studied had nothing to do, of course, with what I do now. I studied landscape architecture. I went to school, and basically I went to school because to honor my father. He really wanted me to go to school, and I wanted to honor my father, so I went to school for that reason. And so I got a degree in landscape architecture. I liked it. It was great, and talking to you earlier, it's a great experience. Right? School gives you that great experience that you can't get anywhere else. So I'm glad I did that. But when I graduated, my brother was running a martial arts school at the time in Fort Collins, and he offered me a position. He said, work for me for 6 months to see if you like it, and if you don't, you go out in the real world and do it. And I said, okay, I'll try for 6 months, and guess what? I never turned back. I never stepped out in the real world. So I got a chance to, through my brother High's mentorship, I got a chance to do it for a living now, becoming a martial art professional.
So you've kind of been a pioneer in this industry. Talk to us about how you've built that momentum.
Well, you know what? The thing is, I had great mentors and leaders. I never claim I do anything by myself. There's people that came before me, and I want to thank those people. I had mentors and people that came before. My brother's one of them. Of course, my father, who set the tone for all of us to live our dreams. And I had other martial art colleagues in the industry that helped me too. But back in the early 80s, that the martial art, I would say martial art professional wasn't really there. People would do it as part-time. And my brother High at the time did it part-time, became a full-time martial art professional, and helped me to do that. But to become a martial art professional, you have to put everything into it. You have to believe in your dreams. I think the biggest thing is that with become a martial artist, I loved it for myself, but it was a hobby. Most people have hobbies, but they live it as a hobby. They don't know how to pursue that. So you have to believe in that. So my brother taught me to believe in my dream and pursue that, even though I might run in the opposite direction of what people think. But back then when we started out martial art, what is that? What kind of job could that be? Can you actually make a career or a living doing that? And don't even think about paying a full-time staff. Forget that. You have to do everything on your own. So all that had to change, and we talk about changing your BS, right? So which is really your belief system. right? So once I start changing my belief system, knowing that, you know what, I can actually create a career and develop, becoming a martial art professional, then things started to change my life also at the same time.
Wow.
But I had to surround myself with great mentors, a great core team members, and a family who supported what I do. Now, family won't ever support what you all in any case.
Yeah.
But I'm very lucky. I had a family who all loved the martial arts, who all wanted to do martial arts together.
Yeah.
So that's the core of my nucleus to help me get started in that way.
That's really neat. So that's huge. A lot of people have a dream, but they feel like it's only ever going to be a hobby. And for you, as you went through that, you said the first thing you did was really change your belief system. Talk to us through some practical ways that can happen apart from just your belief system. So now what? I've changed my belief system. What do I do now?
Next. Okay. So first off, one of my mentor told me about FUD. We talked about that too. FUD, F-U-D, stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubts. You can have that as an entrepreneur, but you can have that in life. So every challenges you're going to rise as an entrepreneur, the steps you go through, like you're going through and I'm going through right now, those are going to come up. The fear, the uncertainty, and doubts. Yeah. And the best way I've known through my life to experience, to knock fear, uncertainty, doubt out is that to do anyways. Okay. So one way would be, for example, I just did a Relentless Passion workshop, my first workshop here. Yeah. I should have done that a year ago, but I didn't. I had the FUD that came up in my life. Why should I do this? What knowledge do I have? But if I surround myself with the circle of influence, I had people around me. You know what? You need to do this. People need to hear this. Yeah. So once you create your circle of influence, that kind of like your mastermind group. Okay. Like they say, the top 5 people that you surround yourself with. For example, they say the top 5 people you surround yourself with, and average your income up. That's what your income would be also. Or what the personnel would be. That's what your personnel would be also. Wow. So it's important that you have that circle of influence in your life that you rely on, and make sure these people are the people that don't just pat you in the back. You don't need that. Okay. You need a kick in the butt. Yeah. You need someone who's going to say, you know what, that's good, but you need to move beyond that. I had those people believed in me, kicked me in the butt, and moved me beyond that. Yeah. So I believe in myself, but sometimes you need that, obviously, positive affirmation. Other people that believed in you too, and say, you know what, you can do this, and you need to do. So I have those people in my life that help pushing me to go what I need to do. That's really good. So start off with that belief system, that circle of influence to overcome the fear, the uncertainty, that doubt, and actually take action and move forward and do things. And one last thing I'd like to support on that is that I believe everyone out there needs to really find a mentor. Okay. Especially as an entrepreneur, though. I really believe that, because mentors views your view on a different level. We always see this, either in my business, you either work in the business or you work on the business. Okay. When you first start out, what I did, I worked in my business. I mean, I was in the business doing all the sweat equity and all that stuff. But I didn't really grow. I only grew a little bit, but not until I learned to work on the business, then I began to really grow. Here's another analogy. If you were to look at your business at 30,000 feet, wouldn't it be different? Man, the scope and the range would be so much different. Because you gotta learn to step outside your business, because sometimes when you're in it, your mind is so clogged up with the busy work. When you start working on the business, that's when you become more productive. How do you make that switch from being so involved, being so hands-on, to stepping back and looking at the business from the outside? Great question. Learn to delegate. And trust when you delegate. So meaning that this is that when I first started out my business, I did everything myself. I didn't trust anybody. Only I can do it. You have that philosophy, right? Only I can do the best. No one can be like me. Well, if you think like that, then you'll be running that small-minded all your life. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, that I didn't get to the success I am today because of me. I had stepping stones, people who helped me to step on that so I can see more as I get there. And those are the people. And this also includes my team members here, my staff members here. They helped me to get to where I am here too. So when you learn to delegate is key. And trust in them and give them a vision, right? And believe in them and mold them and mentor them. then you're going to have an army, a community of people that will see what you're seeing and help you to become successful.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
huge. That's really key. And I think trust is something that we all really struggle with. I think there's an inner perfectionist in a lot of people, but to really sort of loosen the reins and I guess that word you said, to mold them, if you can instill your expectations and perfectionism onto those that do the work to your expectation, that's when you can step away from it, right?
Yeah, but here, before you can do that, here's what my belief is. During those early years of my entrepreneurship life, I had to learn to start changing myself first.
Okay.
They can only follow who they believe in. All they say, you look behind you, who's following you right now in your life. If you don't see anyone following you, because you know what, you haven't worked enough on yourself. You have to learn to work on yourself first. Believe in yourself. Change that BS, the belief system, the limiting beliefs that you talked about, right? So I started working myself a lot. How did I do that though? I read tons of books. And I hated reading.
Yeah.
But I read tons of books, but I started reading the books that I love. So I read tons of books, listened to tons of videos, podcasts, went to tons of seminars, always sat in the front row if I could, talked to a lot of people, get on social media, put myself out there, be vulnerable, and be real.
Yeah.
Right? Be real. Because everyone, Master Tran, he goes through a lot of pain in life too. He's not, no one's perfect.
Yeah.
If you're real and you're honest, and you begin to work on yourself and change your belief system, then you don't have to say much. People will see that in you and they'll believe in you. That's for me, in the martial arts, it's called integrity.
Yeah.
And I always say, my word is law.
Yeah.
Meaning that what I say, I do. So that's important.
Really good.
Yeah.
Love it. For you, as you've stepped out, what has been the biggest surprise, I guess, in being an entrepreneur and a business owner?
Well, the biggest surprise, surprise is, I don't know if it's the biggest surprise, but I would say, for me, being an entrepreneur means freedom. The freedom to do what I love to do.
Yeah.
I get an opportunity to live in one of the greatest countries in the world. And there's a good side and downside. The downside to living in a country of abundance is that people get complacent.
Okay.
They say, and they have the entitlement mentality. I need to have. I need this. That's mine. They forget to roll up their sleeve and to work hard.
Okay.
Nothing beats sweat equity.
Yeah.
I believe in that. You have to dig down deep. You want to be successful, you have to dig down deep through the toughest time of your life.
Yeah.
And then I know you fought, and I'm a martial artist, I'm a fighter too, and I have that analogy I always use. When you're knocked down, man, you have an option. You get back up, or you stay down for the count.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? If you lose the fight, that's okay. There's always another fight. You learn from that failure.
Yeah.
But if you get back up and fight again, that's awesome too. But what got you there?
Yeah.
A team.
Yeah.
The people in your corner. Right? Don't forget that. The martial art we always teach about loyalty, commitment, the people who got you. I never forget about my roots and people who got me here today.
Yeah. Wow,
and that's important.
huge.
But freedom, Ty, is what I would say the biggest thing. Like I said, I sit in my office and I pinch myself almost every day. I say, you know what, man? I get to run an organization, mentor to thousands, hundreds of people through the years, and I get to do this for a living. I get paid. I do this for a living. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So the freedom I get from being an entrepreneur, it beats working for anyone else.
Yeah. What do you think holds most people back from stepping out and pursuing their dream?
Well, fear. Fear is one, and complacency. Fear that they don't believe that they're worth it.
Okay.
A lot of people inside don't believe that they're worth that. Their worth is not value.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they have anything to bring to the marketplace. They feel, oh man, Ty knows so much more than I do. What do I know about that? So I think that's one of them, because fear holds us back from all that. And then the other thing would be, just like, I don't think I have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't have the knowledge to really do that. And why would... And I think for me in this country anyways, is the lack of hard work. People want instant gratification and everything. They see you doing this entrepreneur journey and go, wow, look at him. He's doing awesome. Why I can't have that? But the reason why is that they're not willing to put in the hard work. They see the results, but they don't want to see the back end.
Yeah.
Right? They only see the front end. Like people say, hey, Master Tran, you have a wonderful business. You run a well-run machine here.
Yeah.
How do you do that? But when you start digging down deep, you tell them about all the other stuff, the back end side, they go, oh, well, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better believe it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it's a work that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. How do you advise people on sort of getting to that point of finding something that they're so passionate about that they're willing to put in the hard work, and sort of how do you move away from that habit of instant gratification?
Okay, well, I would say this. If I was coaching somebody who had a passion for something but didn't know how to pursue it, I would say this. And most people that I coach have a career already, but it's usually a career they hate.
Okay.
You know, they wake up every day, they actually put themselves on autopilot, driving to work, they didn't know how to get there, but they got there every day.
Yeah.
That's a meaningless life, right?
Yeah.
So I would say this. I would tell people, okay, they can't leave their job right now because, you know why? Security. Security holds them there.
Okay.
They get paid, they have pension plan, all that stuff. So how do you get out of that? Here's one way. Let's say you have a passion, you have a security job that you can't leave right now. I highly recommend that you do it on the side.
Okay.
As a hobby first. Let's say the hobby could be, let's say for me, martial arts, right? I say, okay, if you're a banker but you are a martial art, you want to love to be a martial artist. Well, first of all, you gotta be training in it.
Okay.
You gotta be somewhat proficient and good at it, studying it.
Yeah.
But on the side, study about the business of that. Maybe on the side, you can start teaching it a little bit. Part-time,
Yeah.
maybe in your house. You know what our brother Hai did? It's funny. We started out, our first dojo was in our garage.
Yeah.
So our two-car garage had all these wood stuff on it. So to cover up the wood, we bought as many Bruce Lee posters as possible and cover up the wall. That's how he got started.
Yeah.
He worked a daytime job as a baker.
Yeah.
And people actually bowed into our garage. We went from door to door handing out flyers. I drew a picture of this guy doing like a flying sidekick. We handed out from door to door.
Wow.
But he did it on the side.
Okay.
Once he did it on the side and started creating momentum, his community, and that income became a reality that at least that covered up about the same income as he did. He quit his other job and he jumped full-fledged in there.
Wow.
So you have to do it on the side first. I wouldn't jump full-fledged into anything.
Okay.
Me personally, I would never do that. I wouldn't advise someone to do it unless you have something to solid proof.
Yeah.
You know, which a lot of these people don't. They go, that's what I do as a boss. Research the hell out of it. Start doing it as a side job. Test out your market. Test out the audience. You know, what kind of niche? If you're a martial artist, you want to cater to adults, you want to cater to kids, or you want to cater to a family, or you want to cater to fighters.
Yeah.
There's so many audience out there you want to cater to, you don't know.
Yeah.
So you have to find that, play with that a little bit. Once you get it down, get that machine going, and then have that, and then you can start jumping over full-fledged.
That's great advice, and I think as many entrepreneurs that actually do go out and jump straight into the deep end and succeed, people from the outside tend to think that's what everyone does. But I love what you said about testing the water, really starting on the side and moving slowly. I think that's going to change the perspective for a lot of people that are on the edge and wanting to leap, that you don't have to take a huge leap. You can take these small steps and get through.
Well, yeah, because your question was taking someone who wants to jump and take a small step. That's for sure. I also believe there's other people out there who just jump in full-fledged with both feet instead of testing the water, testing the cold water. I also believe in that, but there's certain things, though. It depends on where you are in your life.
Okay.
If you're a young kid, 18, 19, jump out there both feet, do it. Because there's a lot of time that you're going to fail. Yeah. But if you're 60, 70, and so forth, you don't have time to do that. So it's a different life and different expectancy that we're talking about here, too.
Wow, that's
when I did it in the martial art, I started out with my brother first. He helped mentor me. I worked for him for a year to learn the business. And I actually jumped out on my own.
Yeah.
Didn't know how I was going to create. I bought all these credit cards.
Yeah.
Opened my business with that credit card capital, which is really bad at the time. But I did, and I succeeded at it, thank goodness. But I jumped in with both feet and had that faith that I would do it. So I did it that way.
Yeah. Wow, that's great, man. Great advice. Now, as we begin to wrap up, Master Tran, first question I want to ask you, who's been the greatest influence in your life?
Okay, so without a doubt, my father, him, or Henry Tran. And he's been the biggest influence in my life. Here's a guy who took us out of a war-torn country, Vietnam. Came to this country with nothing, literally just clothes on our back, like they said, as a refugee. Worked at a grocery market and raised 5 kids on his own. So he's been by far and the only hero in my life.
Wow.
You know, he instilled family in me and my brothers and sisters, and until his last days of life here, he's always talked about that. So family is very important to me, and my father has been my hero to instill that in my life.
Yeah, and you can really see how that lesson has played out in your life and in your business. It's fascinating for me to come in here and see a business, but at the same time not a business, because it feels like such a family. I see the people you're training relate to you in this family sense, and so it's so neat to see that played out in your life from your dad.
Yeah, so it's really, we build a community. Yeah. Right? So yeah, it's exactly clients or anything. It's our community, the people we actually trust, believe in, and their lives are being transformed. So yes.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of a legacy and impact would you like to leave behind through your work?
Okay. So, you know, here in Colorado, we get a fair amount of snow, so forth too. So, so you would see, so an analogy I would use is seeing a child following his father in the snow, and the child is trying to step in the same footprint as his father in the snow who's leading. So the father looks back and smiles at his son and seeing how he's struggling trying to step in his father's footprint. So he begins to take smaller steps so his son can take the easier steps that he took.
Wow.
And I use that analogy. The footprint is a definition to me of discipleship, what God calls us to do. And I would like to leave a footprint behind here on this earth. Of that footprint, though, will lead people to Christ, but helping people to find, through martial art, through fitness, and through my speaking and my workshop, help people to find their passion, their purpose, by having their faith lead them through that.
Wow.
That's what I like to leave.
That's a beautiful illustration. Last question, what is your definition of success? So
definition of success, hands down to me, is the end of my day here on earth, and the day that God comes back and calls us. I stand at heaven's gate, and he says to me, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And like I said, that's not a definition of success in this world, and I don't care for that. And my definition of success is eternal, and everything I do here revolves around to my eternal Father.
Wow,
so,
love it,
yeah.
Love it. Well, check out the show notes, and we'll have links on how you can connect with Master Tran and even his Relentless Passion workshop. If you want to get connected for that life-changing experience, be sure to check out the website and the show notes. Master Tran, any final words you'd like to say to everyone?
Yes. Always live your life with faith, passion, and purpose.
Love it. Love it. Master Tran, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ty, for being here.
Go out and get it. See you later.